Hey, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Anakna Waha A Bar, Yasha Allah A with the Hebrew Israelites, coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham. Yahweh shall to preach to you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nacham Atam, Kaya Hamalakwat Hashemayim Korab, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, we can go ahead and say, Call Layim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham Chah Kodash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, brothers that pushing the truth with all righteousness. And sincerely, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so the scriptures get into how um, the nations have drunk up the wine of Babylon's fornication. You see, so therefore the nations are angry. And roughly paraphrasing. So that's what we're seeing. We're going to get an article going into how um, the different nations are putting off the ways of America, Babylon the Great. So, can we start with that the article?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Just like, I gotta pull up on my other phone.
Okay. We're seeing nations like Iran, Jamaica. Jamaica said they're no longer allowing their women to twerk and stuff like that over in those areas. And then you also have for the longest, Benjamin has never tolerated, the nasty people, you know. And then again, to mention the thing with Iran, they had back when the U.S. or you had Iran, and you also had Afghanistan. Back when the U.S. first, exited out of that country, pretty much we started to see order put back into that particular area, and that's because the U.S. spreads their philosophies into these different nations, but the nations see that it's not actually helpful. It's actually in vain to follow those wicked ways. And then also with Iran, going to what this article is going into, they're making they're making them righteous.
Okay. This is off of this one's off of BBC News. It reads, Iran hijab bill. Women face 10 years in jail for inappropriate dress.
That was the
Which one?
RT one. That was that was,
Oh, you want the RT one? Okay, got so
okay.
Slovakia.
I'm gonna go ahead and get this quick precept though. This is First Corinthians chapter 11, and we'll start at verse 3. We'll start at verse 1. It says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Hamashiach." All right, this is Paul. It says, "Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them unto you." And the ordinance is something that's ordered. It's a commandment. It goes back to a precept. It says, "But I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High." All right, so the head of every man is going to be Yahweh Shah. The head of every woman is going to be the man, and then the head of Mashiach is the Most High. It says, "Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head, but every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven." But pretty much the point, women are supposed to, pray and prophesy. And when it goes into prophesy, it's talking about, to relay dreams to a prophet. But praying with their head covered, which essentially that article is getting into, women going back into being ordered. Now that's going into their Islamic State, but that Islamic State stems from the Eastern mindset, but it's just going off in that specifically. But in totality, they get that ideology from the scriptures.
Okay. It's off RT News. It reads: Iranian MPs approved 10-year sentences for revealing clothes.
Mm-hmm.
It reads: lawmakers passed a bill laying out harsh penalties for violations of Tehran's religious dress code. Iran is set to adopt a new law that threatens stricter punishments for women who refuse to wear the mandatory Islamic headscarf, including prison sentences of up to a decade for those involved in organized protests against the rule. The National Parliament, the Islamic Constitutive Assembly, passed the legislation on Wednesday, voting to impose the new law on a trial basis for 3 years before it expires. Iran's Guardian Council, an oversight body made up of religious and legal experts, still must approve the measure before it is enacted. The law offers dozens of amendments to Tehran's legal dress code, which has been enforced for both men and women since the country's 1979 revolution, with more than 70 articles defining rules and penalties for rule breakers.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the required headscarf or hijab, women will be banned from wearing revealing or tight clothing or clothing that shows parts of the body lower than the neck or above the ankles or above the forearms, according to local media reports. For men, revealing clothing that shows parts of the body lower than the chest or above the ankles or shoulders will be off limits.
Because if I can add, let me get a quick precept because again, being that America is the spearhead of the world, um, every all the nations have taken on the ideology of America, Babylon, and Great. This is Job chapter 10 and verse 21. It says, "Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death." It says, "A land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness." All right, so it says without any order because this place pushes a lifestyle or a death style. Be what you want to be. Do it how you want. Live it up. YOLO. You only live one life. So it's no particular order about this. And going into their article, they was laying out a particular order. All right, because taking on the lifestyle of this place is going to pretty much lead to confusion. It says, "And where the light is as darkness." So this is actually pushed. This is actually taken for taken for truth in America. That stand people actually stand on these so-called values and beliefs. You know, they uphold what's dark pertaining to righteousness, and then what's actually light. They think badly on it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Continuing on, it reads: legislators passed the measure just days after the anniversary death of Masa Amini, a 22-year-old woman who died while in the custody of Iran's morality police after she was accused of violating the hijab mandate. Her death kicked off months of violent protests across Iran, resulting in thousands of arrests and further loss of life among demonstrators and security forces.
I believe that was like the time period where it was a whole bunch of people just marching around with those big ass flags uh
Yeah,
for that particular woman.
yeah, that was all the
But
justice for Iran and all that stuff that was going on.
hmm but she was being out of order according to what was written inside that article. She wasn't trying to cover up. She was trying to take on the philosophies of America, and we know that's not gonna fly. Especially not over in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, these philosophies have started to bleed into, these other cultures. And,
hmm
you see the way the women start to pick up on these things, because
hmm
it's really unavoidable, right? It's like a cancer that's spreading throughout the earth, right? So eventually all these nations are going to be presented with whether or not they're going to allow their people to go into the way of the beast, man.
It's like that. It's like the time in I believe it was in the Babylonian captivity, but it was like pretty much it was some men in leadership, and they had women, and then like they women was tripping, so they was like, are you going to correct them? Because if you don't, it's gonna be a problem. So that's pretty much we seen that start to happen again. Pretty much
Yeah.
by these nations taking on the ways of America, Babylon the Great, that women are starting to have that mindset of compassing the men in those particular countries, leading forth to confusion.
Right. Kind of continuing on. The United Nations and other international humanitarian bodies have condemned the religious dress code. Last month, a panel of UN experts claimed the hijab law could be described as a form of gender apartheid, warning of severe punishments on women and girls and noncompliance or for noncompliance. In a recent interview, which that's part of the reason why we see the disorder right now is because there's no punishment, going out, for disorder. You
Mm-hmm.
see, everybody's allowed to do as they want to, without fear of consequence, you know. But that consequence is just, they're adding on to that bill, man, right? And it's eventually going to need to be paid.
Can I get a quick precept going into that?
Kind
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 11. So like chapter 8 and verse 11 says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So pretty much because judgment is not going forth, uh, people feel like, hey, they're getting away with this, so all right, then they're able to get away with it. On the same token, I'm gonna keep going.
exactly.
It says, though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. Verse 13, it says, but it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before the Most High. You see, so like you said, they pretty much adding up that tab, and then when it's time to, punch the clock or for the bill to come out, then they gotta pay the tab.
hmm And just
At
real
least they
quick, this
repent.
is this is a Habakkuk 1:4. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Right. So now you see people coming to the defense, so called, of these women down there, right? When they're actually setting some type of standard and some type of order for them to follow and abide by. We living in a land that's ruled by disorder, and confusion, right? So that's where it says wrong judgment proceedeth. They're condemning, them keeping their people in order, for uh and for forsaking, the ways of Babylon the Great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing on, it reads, in a recent interview with ABC News, the wife of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, Jamila Alamodia, whatever, defends the country's dress code, arguing the rules were crafted out of respect for women and were no different from other dress codes everywhere. I need to tell you that hijab was a tradition, or as a tradition. It's like, I need to tell you that hijab was a tradition, was a religiously mandated tradition accepted widely, and now for years it has been turned into a law. And breaking of the law, trampling upon any laws, just like any other country, comes with its own set of punishments, she added.
Colin, I'm gonna get a quick one. This is Jeremiah chapter 51. We'll start at verse 6.
Mhm.
It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Now, everybody that's attached to this Western philosophy and mindset is going to be destroyed. When you go into Western philosophy and the mindset, it goes into diet, the lifestyle, how you eat, uh, economics, just pretty much everything about life. So those attached to that specific, again, lifestyle will be destroyed. And that's pretty much why the nations are angry, because they're seeing that, this mindset, it only pushes forth to a out of order society. I'm gonna keep going. It says, can you run the last part back inside that like it was like the last couple sentences?
God, it reads, I need to tell you that hijab was a religiously mandated tradition, accepted widely, and now for years it has been turned into a law.
Kind.
Working
So
with the oh,
so pretty much something that's meant for their benefit is seen as a as negative, you know,
mhm,
being that they're taking on the mindset of America, because the things that are actually for our benefit, Esau go and turn it and to make it it seem like it's bad, you
exactly.
know, and essentially saying that mindset is going to get one destroyed, you know. I'm gonna keep going to Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. All right, and it's not talking about literal wine, it's talking about philosophy and lifestyle. It says, the nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. I want to get this word for mad. So it says, are mad. It says to act madly, act like a madman. So pretty much the nations are mad. We're seeing them. It says rage. You know, we're seeing them be out of order off of you know, following America, Babylon the Great. You know, that was pretty much the point. You keep going in the article though.
No, that was it. That
Up
was a
shot.
good one.
That was it.
Okay.
All right, let's get we get Isaiah 33 and 1. I'll get Jeremiah 6 and 16.
Okay. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee.
So, woe to thee that spoilest. All right, America has spoiled just about every nation on this country, and if they're not able to actually go and benefit, or if they're not actually able to go into those different countries, they'll put sanctions on them. It
Hmm.
says, and dealeth treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. Pretty much not keeping their end of the peace treaties and deals and things of that nature. It says, when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. That's why we're seeing these other nations, teaming up amongst themselves, getting their own money, getting their own economics and their own enterprise. But I'm gonna read again. It says dealeth treacherously. All right, when you go into dealing treacherously, pretty much another way to deal treacherously is by pushing um, the lifestyle in these different nations. Because the leadership of America, Babylon the Great, understand that this place is just a huge experiment. So they understand that this stuff is only going to lead and push forth to confusion. You know.
Right. Yeah, because they're masters of witchcraft, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
know that the ways that they push, and they see it throughout history. These customs always lead to decay, right? And these other nations didn't take that into account when they partook of that cup, man. When they took
Mm-hmm.
that wine, they willingly, in some cases, and others they were forced to. But when they took that wine, they didn't understand the ramifications, of taking upon these customs, man.
Right. Yeah. The precept.
Did you want that First Corinthians?
All right, I had already read it. Could we get
Okay,
Deuteronomy 22 and 5?
God. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. It reads, Salah. It reads, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, Neither
Mm-hmm.
shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do are it's like for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy power.
Mm-hmm. And this is chiefly pushed in America. Or you have uh, women dressing like men, men dressing like women. You know, and this breeds
Mhm.
a society of confusion. You know, because that comes with a particular type of spirit. You know, got
God,
another one. This is Psalms chapter 103. We get verse 12. It says, "As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us." Now this is going into the transgressions being removed from the nation of Yasha'Allah. But I want to apply this precept to the philosophy of the East and the West, because in the East it goes back to traditions. All right, it goes back when you think about the East, you think about the traditions, Oriental, you know, pertaining to the East, but something that's perpetual and that's established, that's already been proven. You know,
hmm
whereas like when we come to contemporaryism, modernism, you know, this experimental phase, that's where we get the West from. All right.
yep.
And with the West, to reiterate, you know, we see that it's kind of like you just do whatever you want. It's not really anything that's stable. It's not a stable type of lifestyle, you know.
Right. Because they take, things that work and have been proven to work and replace them for things that look or feel good, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're seeing right now is, this the way the society works is it caters to people's emotions and feelings instead of, giving them things that are actually gonna increase them, right? Allow you to
Right.
prosper, right? They'll rather let you go and destroy yourself, for the sake of your so-called happiness, right? Instead of, seeking prosperity, man.
Mm-hmm. They'll put it in a way that seems cool. Like uh, as far as like for example, like the insatiable diet, not being able to stop eating. They'd be like, all
hmm
right, feed the beast. You know, they pretty much saying like, hey, you know, eat as much as you want. You know,
Right.
when that in itself, overindulging in each category of a lifestyle, that's pretty much being a complete demon. You know,
hmm
being insatiable in every type of uh thing in life. You know, but that's pretty much all I had.
God. Let me see. God, we can go ahead and close out. Yeah.
Yeah, precept.
No, that was all I had.
Adawan Tazah. Zabanaya Pa, Lord's will, that was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adawan Tazah, Adam Yashuan Tawab. Hey, Lord's will, you have a good day. Go ahead and close out by saying, Kar Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Chah Kwadash. Hey, double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, brothers out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.